I'd like to share a haunting experience from when I worked as a cashier at 7-Eleven in the Philippines. It was a stormy night, with strong winds and heavy rain. The store was almost empty, just a few customers and some loiterers waiting for the rain to stop. Sales were slow. My shift partner and I kept mopping up the water that was seeping in. We were laughing about how the store was at a loss again. Ronald, my shift partner, said, "At least we're getting paid." And I agreed. It was pretty laid back since there weren't many customers. As we headed back to the counter, the door was suddenly pushed with such force that it nearly hit us. We looked at the door but saw no one. Ronald and I exchanged worried glances, thinking it might just be the wind. When he said that it is just the wind, I felt a bit better. But then, a few moments later, I noticed a child had come into the store. The child looked around 10 or 9 years old, disheveled and wearing torn clothes, like one of those homeless kids. The child was soaking wet, and his skin seemed unnaturally pale, as if he'd been in the water for a long time. I was about to ask the child to leave, because the floor was getting harder to mop, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. Ronald didn't approach the child either, so I just let it be. The child stood in front of the ice cream freezer, and I watched them from the counter. Black water was dripping from his body, creating a puddle on the floor. I wanted to ask the child to leave, but I just couldn't. The child tried to open the freezer, but struggled. I was about to help when I noticed something disturbing. The child's body was covered in mud, and when he turned to face me, black liquid was streaming from their eyes. They looked incredibly sad. Just then, Ronald's voice snapped me back to reality. "Hey, buddy, there's a line forming." I looked back, and the child had vanished. The next day, Ronald told me that one of the local kids he was close to had drowned. He used to give that child ice cream sometimes. The child had drowned in a creek near the shop. I was shaken and told Ronald about the child we had seen. I suggested it might have been the child's ghost. Ronald cursed and said, "What are you talking about? No child came into the store. It was just the wind blowing the door open." But I couldn't shake the feeling that we had seen something that night. Something that was more than just a draft.